Hi chaps, Simo P here from Beard, Biceps and Batchat. This is one of those videos where the gameplay is going to be great but largely irrelevant to this video. We're going to be talking about the update that we've got, June overview, update 3.8, what that means for the game. I've got a feeling this will probably do a fair amount of videos over this update. I'll explain why as I go through it, there's quite a lot going on. So for June, the overview is Enter the Crimson Knight. So we also got update 3.8, but let me start with the overview before I start going off on a massive tangent. So we've got the Crimson Knights that are coming this June. So it includes two new tanks, which is the Honor T28E and the Glory IS5. We're also getting access to the Fatherland IS3 and the Motherland T54 again. Both those tanks they've done operations where you could earn them for free, but I suppose they're bringing them back just because it's a fairly Soviet heavy month. So the first tanks from the Crimson Knight that are going to be released between June 2nd and 29th, we have the Honor 28E. Essentially it's the tier 4 T28, sorry, with the, correct me if I'm wrong, the KV-1 Top Gun. Looks like it's going to be a good little crew trainer. I suppose the paint or the camo on the tank's pretty sweet. That's just going to be released in the store in a couple of bundles, and we've got the Glory IS5. That is a little bit not unusual. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Glory IS5. It's fairly comparable to the IS3, but with the sort of same cost as we saw with the Huntsman Centurion. In my opinion, for what you get and what you're paying for, it's excessively priced. If you have the Fatherland or won the Fatherland from 3 months ago, the playstyle is incredibly similar. So charging up to 15,000 gold for a similar tank with a white, snow camo seems a little excessive to me. I'm sure there's a reason WG do it. I'm sure the data they've got on the Glory when they sold the Fatherland, with people paying 12, 13, 14,000 gold for it, even though it could be earned for free, selling these tanks at this level, it must make the money or they wouldn't do it. But I'll I'll save my thoughts on the Glory IS5 for another video. I could talk about that and WG selling it for a little while, so I won't go into it too much. Obviously we've got the Fatherland and the Motherland back in store. We've also got the Bogater KV2202, or the Bog Roll. And we're also going to be able to earn the Bog Roll tank, or Bogater. I'm going to go with Bog Roll. We'll call it the Bog Roll tank. So we've got an earn up for it. It's going to start 2nd of June all the way to the 22nd. So as of now, it has started today. Now the op itself looks like it's been well sort of thought out. Again, I'll go into that a little bit more. It's got a new crew skill for the tank when you take it on, which is the Iron Mace. But it's similar to the American Dream Machine op that we had last month. But this is based on damage rather than EXP, so it's against a skill-based stop rather than solely based on RNG, as we saw with the Fatherland, which I know got people quite frustrated. We've also got another on-track event. We had one. Our last one we had was for the Batchat, and after that we had it for the Grill 15 when they got released. This on-track event is for the IS7. Now, this was the first tier 10 I unlocked in the game. I sold it pretty quickly. I found the IS7 didn't fit my playstyle. I prefer using faster tanks, and the mobility just didn't really add up to what I was looking for. And I felt the armor was a little bit weak, just because premium rounds are so prevalent or so often used at tier 10. It just didn't hit the spot for me, but the line itself is absolutely fantastic. IS3 is the real highlight of the line at tier 8, so an on-track event, I'd really encourage you guys to take advantage. It's a really good line. The grind isn't difficult. It's a really enjoyable line to play, and one I'd recommend pretty much everyone to do when they start the game, or just to look at initially. The other thing we've got coming out, which is a little unusual, on June the 22nd, is the Valkyria Chronicles tanks. Now, these are completely made up tanks, the Edelweiss and the Nameless. We don't really know too much about them just yet. We know they've been released on PC Asia, and I think they have them on Blitz as well. The stats for them, one of them is an absolute, just heavy tank, absolute monster. One's a great little light tank. But I don't want to talk about their stats too much, just because they're subject to change from what we see on Blitz and especially what we see on PC. But I imagine we're going to know more about them. Fairly excited to see. It's quite interesting that they're releasing tanks that aren't historical in any way. I know some people put the waffle in that category, just a made-up tank that they liked, so they kept it in the game. But it'll be interesting to see if this is a trend they continue. So quite excited for that. The other thing that I've been or noticed that's really stood up to me is we're looking at a trial of. We've also got a trial of new consumables, which is the patch kits. So essentially, the patch kits can restore your vehicle HP by 20% over 30 seconds. It's literally just going to be for 2 or 3 days that they trial it out, just to see whether to introduce it into the game or not. I can imagine on certain tanks these will be far more useful than others, potentially support mediums that have had a lucky hit, potentially brawl-in heavies as well. I know some people are a little bit iffy with it, how excited they are about it, what the impact on the game's going to be. But I don't think you can really judge it until it happens. We can, of course, throw theories around how it'll affect gameplay. But this is a trial by WG just to see how much it's going to work and if it's something they can introduce long term into the game. And the last thing that's really sort of popping out is we have ranked battles tier 8s again. It's what we've had previously, 7 on 7. Again, I know they tweaked the rewards previously. So it should be pretty good. Quite excited for that. Now, the other thing we've had is we've had update 3.8. Now, the download for that was astronomical this morning. I think it took me about 3 hours to download it. It's literally re-downloaded the entire game. But if you check the patch notes for it, you'll notice it's actually made the overall game smaller. I think by about 18 gigabytes. So it's quite significant how much smaller it is on your hard drive. So you're going to have more rooms for more games. So that's quite good. Obviously, we've got the new Platoon UI that's been set up as well. That looks really cool. It should make things a lot simpler. From what I've found playing the game on 3.8, things are a little bit more crisper, a little bit more snappier. So very excited with that update. I think it's been really good. I know we've got new voice controls. Well, not voice controls, sorry, voice commands. I know what they've also done on 3.8 is added a new voice engine. So I know a lot of people have been asking for whether it be female voices, nation-specific voices. From some of the notes and some of the forum posts, they're actually able to do that with the new update and the new engine that they're using for it. So I know that's going to go down really well. Really excited to see how that comes out. They're also able to change the sounds of the game to make it a little bit more realistic, change the sound of certain guns for certain calibers. So really excited to see how they use that. I think that's going to be really good and really well received. The next video I'll probably look to do, chaps, will be go over the earn up a